Hey, tarot fans. Welcome to Timeless Tarot. I'm Cindy, and this is the very first Saturday tarot school. I'm going to be doing a series of pretty short, I'd like to keep them under 5 minutes for sure, pretty short little videos that explain my take on each of the cards in the upright and the reverse. And there'll be a couple of overviews, obviously. Starting with this one, which is what is tarot to me. I'll also do another one on what the major arcana is, what the minor arcana is, the suits, the court cards, and then we'll move into some more sophisticated interpretations. The readings that I do tend to be more energetic based, tend to be more psychologically based rather than actual 3D events. That being said, the 3D events always follow the energy comes first, and then you get the 3D event. So for me, from a divination perspective, which is what a lot of people think tarot is, from a divination perspective, that's absolutely there, but I think it's helpful to understand the mechanics behind the scene, the energies in play that happen, that set up your 3D world to receive the actual events that occur in your life, right? You build the world you live in, and the main thing that builds the world that you live in is your character and the energy that you are calibrated to both receive and transmit build the world around you in very, very real, concrete terms. It affects completely who you are, affects how you live, who you live with, how you live with them, and the pursuit of happiness that 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 you um, that you embody. That's what I was looking for. Sorry about that. So anyway, if you'd be interested in this sort of content, please like, share, and subscribe. And tune in every Saturday morning to take a look at maybe what my take on tarot is. I'm a third generation tarot reader. My mom read tarot. My grandmother read tarot. She actually supported herself reading tarot in the 40s, as the story goes, after a particularly raucous fight with my grandfather at the time that lasted, I think they were split up for like a year, possibly two. I don't really know the whole story, you know how these things go in families, but at some point she did actually support herself in her middle age after she had finished having 6 kids, including my mom, who was the last one. She actually supported herself reading tarot for a while. So it's kind of cool that I am carrying on the family tradition. So tarot to me, I grew up, started with tea leaves actually, when I was really little, like before kindergarten kind of thing. And then graduated to reading cards, but actually my grandmother and my mom read playing cards, like regularly ordinary playing cards. I didn't really see my first tarot deck, I think, until I was probably about 10, at which point I thought it was pretty fascinating. I'm old enough to remember a time when you couldn't just walk into the grocery store or bookstore and buy tarot cards. You couldn't just, they weren't really available. It was kind of a fringe kind of thing. And it was something that when I was a kid that you didn't really talk about. It wasn't really welcomed the same way it is now. So it's been really cool to see that evolution and how people have opened up, and that there's a huge community of people that find it useful. The origins of tarot, you can Google that for yourself, but the quick the quick synopsis is that the first tarot deck, I think, recorded is somewhere between 1420 1440 in Italy, and it was originally a game played by noblemen, and then fast forward, there's a bunch of other stuff, believe me, there's a deep rabbit hole there if you want to go down it, but fast forward to 1910 1909, I believe someone check that out. Put it in the comments. Rider Waite deck was created by some British. I call them mystics. Some people call them occultists. But anyway, and they. I think it's Arthur Waite and Pamela Colman Smith. Pamela Colman Smith is an interesting character to me because she was a set designer. So you can see on a lot of the cards, I'll pull one out here. You can see on a lot of the cards, this is just the Six of Pentacles. It's a stage, right? It's a stage. So there are a lot of stage cards in here. Some of them aren't. Three of Swords is not a stage card, but the whole Shakespeare, the whole world is a stage. We are all, what is it, poor players that fret and strut our time upon the stage. That is a mystical belief that is incorporated into the cards. That really, this is nowadays it might be called simulation theory or many worlds theory or different timelines. But the concept that is quite popular today, that we are all aspects of the divine incarnated into particular characters to play or to participate in a collective zeitgeist of consciousness with the goal of expanding and evolving our consciousness isn't new. It's very old. It's actually goes back to Hermeticism, which goes back to Egypt and before, which is another tangent, which is why there is the myth. I don't know the validity of it actually, but the myth that the gypsies came from Egypt. Not quite sure about that, but their attachment to the tarot cards and their attachment to the Hermetic principles, as above, so below, as within, so without, those are all contained in the tarot. And for me, and I think a lot of people that are drawn to this sort of self-development, tarot is an amazing tool, a really amazing tool, because it is so deeply layered and there are so many keys in it that if you meditate on any one card for any period of time, you will very quickly discover that it is a much, much deeper experience than simply an event, like and it can be read as 3D events, but it, pardon me, is also very very helpful to turn it around and read it as an internal energy that is there to advance you. And whether that's advance you because it hurts or advance you because it's a win, it's all for your best and highest good. So when I read tarot, I do personal readings as well. There's information in that in the description box below if you're interested in that. When I read tarot, I am essentially connecting to either a collective, if it's online like this, or if it's in person, I'm connecting my divinity to theirs. My higher self connects to the group or the individual that I'm reading for. And really, the cards are their cards that are drawn to their energy. There are no mistakes. Any card that pops out is the card that's supposed to pop out. Just like if you find this video and you find that it resonates, you're supposed to be here, and I'm sort of just receiving the information from the other party that they already know. That's why it resonates. Things resonate with you because you already know it. And I'm just receiving that information from you and transmitting it back to you because it might be something that's kind of hard for you to tell yourself. So the tarot lady is not actually telling you anything, and the cards aren't actually telling you anything that you don't already know, ever, ever, ever. So I think for me, and it's always all about you, you know. The one thing that you learn after reading tarot for a couple of decades. I've been reading tarot for 5 decades now, and then some. One thing that you do learn is that no matter what it looks like, you are never, and I'm not saying no one's ever victimized, but the ultimate betrayal is always the first betrayal, and the first betrayal is always to yourself. So it always comes back to self. Anyway, so I'm going to start doing some classes, just talking, just like this, just kind of talking, having a cup of coffee, and giving my thoughts on tarot and spiritualism and how I've used spiritual tarot for my spiritual development. Especially in the last 5, 6 years or so, I've made some great progress. And if you'd like to, if that's part of what your journey is right now, and this resonates with you, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you every Saturday. Cheers.